Alright guys, my new shander has finally arrived. I will do a video on this thing later, but today's video is going to be about this guy. Not getting rid of it, just going to be modifying it a bit. So I needed a new disc sander, something a little bit more precise, and I picked up this guy. The thing is rad. These are not cheap, but they are definitely worth it. Listen how quiet this is. Come on, that could be referred to as cute. And this guy, as you guys know, is quite a bit louder. So what am I going to be doing to it? I'm going to be removing all of this stuff. I'm not going to use it as a disc sander anymore. I was thinking of putting a really aggressive sanding pad on it and using it to hog material off, but I'm getting a micro table saw in a bit as well, so I will be able to do much more precise cuts, and it shouldn't require me to do large amounts of hogging off material, because I should be doing more accurate cuts. So I'm going to be removing the disc portion of that and then figuring out why the belt portion is so loud, and then I'm just going to be using this as a belt sander. Not that this is a bad unit, it's just not accurate enough for the micro scale stuff that I do, and it's bit me in the butt a few times already, and it was time for it to get replaced. But I do find the belt portion of it to be quite useful. First things first, we gotta get this part off. Little duct tape engineering there. I did that because there was a whole ton of air leaks in here, and it basically rendered the vacuum portion of this thing useless. Next, let's take this guy out. Oh, it's got it's like a C-clip. If the C-clip is actually holding it in, or if the C-clip is just keeping it from going back all the way, but I may need to take that off. Ah, sneaky, sneaky. There was one hidden under here. So let's see if this guy is the magic ticket. I have a C-clip tool, but it can't fit into the space back there. Yeah, alright. There is the tool. C-clip. Pretty neat. Oh man, there's the thing on here that says wear safety goggles, and that little ring just flew off and nailed me right in the eyebrow, and guess who's not wearing safety goggles? This guy. Alright, that stuff is off. Now let's get to the other side and figure out why this is so loud. Just in case you guys forgot what this thing sounds like. It sounds like the noise has gone from back in there. Now there's already an issue with this thing vibrating, and I made this little piece that sticks down in there to keep this from flapping around, but let's break this down and see if we can figure out where that's coming from. I'm sure I've said it before, when you buy stuff from any store, make sure you check and see if stuff's broken or not. This little clear cover that goes over the top was broken when I got it home, and well, sort of broken, and then it broke the rest of the way later, and I wish I would have taken it back to the store. So don't be lazy, protect your pocketbook. So here's the inside. This wheel right here was very crowned, and what I mean by crowned, if you were to look at the wheel head on, it had like quite a pointy profile to here, so I dropped a file in here and spent a good amount of time flattening it out to make it rest flatter against this piece right there. And then these were all off balance as well, so I went through there and tried to basically balance them by filing them out. Alright, the side is off, and I can already hear that clanking, whatever that is. is what's causing that. So I'm going to continue to strip this thing down, see if I can figure out where that's coming from. Alright, so pretty quickly I figured out what's going on here. This guy is loose, and then this has got some mobility in it as well, so I think when it's going around, this guy's flopping and this guy's jiggling, and it's making that lovely noise. I'm going to run it without the belt on it. Pretty quiet because there's no load on it, but once you put the belt on there, it starts jiggling around. So I'm going to see if I can pull this off and tighten it up any. Otherwise, I'm either going to just have to deal with it being loud, or it's going to have to go in the recycle. Nope. Try number 2, duct tape in a different spot. Alright, let's try it with the belt on. Not bad, much better. Alright, so another thing on here that lends way to a lot of noise is this bearing. It's kind of loud, jiggles around. I'm going to see if there's anything that I can do to tighten this up. I don't know if there will be, but let's find out. And I am wearing safety glasses this time. Alright, so it sounds like the bearings in here are shot. Spin it close to the mic. It sounds okay when you spin it, but it shouldn't sound like that. It sounds like the carrier, the balls inside are worn down. I'm going to go ahead and order new ones. Already took the set screw out of the top of that. This bearing is being a little butthole. It does not want to come off there. Scrap wood! No, I got it out. And if you're curious how I figured out what bearing it is, all bearings will have a number on them. So it has like the name of the company, not sure what this digit is, and then it will have like the size of the bearing. So this is 62062RS. So you just go find the bearing that looks like this. Most places that sell them will give you 3 dimensions. So they'll give you the width, they'll give you the distance from there to there, and then they'll give you the outer diameter as well, so you can make sure that it fits what you're going to be using it on. We'll grab 2 of these guys for about $5, so we'll go ahead and get the new ones installed. And bearings, we'll get into these later. Alright, another thing on here that I'd like to fix is this. Oh, it just came right off. I actually unscrewed it already. This is basically the backing plate that you would press against when you're trying to sand something down. The belt comes along here. Now I don't know if it's because of the little bit of curve in the belt. Remember, because you have a round wheel up here at the top and then you have a round wheel at the bottom. Whatever's going between those 2 points isn't going to be flat. If you look at it, it's crowned. That's what I mean by round. So that may have had an effect on here. I do plan on flattening these out a little bit more. Can't go too flat with them because the crowning is basically what helps keep the belt centered on there. But I'm going to flatten that out a bit more. And then I'm going to take this guy, because there is a bit of a curve to it, and flatten that out a bit. Alright, so I've pretty much done everything that I want to do to try to improve this thing. I'm not going to go crazy with it. I just need it to be a little bit better than it was, and I think we're going to get there. So let's knock these bearings out. These are in pretty rough shape. So the only thing holding it in is these little tabs in there. Back in the old skateboarding days, we would just hold it on the truck, a little bolt that comes out of it to hold the wheel on. We would just pop it out like that. That works, but the problem with doing that is you put a lot of pressure on the inside of the bearing. This one I'm just going to try to knock it out straight down with the hammer. Oh, wait, let's make sure we're doing the right side. Ooh, nice. Smooth, quiet, rolled ones. These are actually going to be kind of loud because WD-40 loosened everything up, but now it spins really fast because I got WD-40 in there. This one didn't. It's kind of funky. This is the part that goes in here, but this is the part that I had to smack out, and I don't really want to smack it back in. I think the transition point between here and here is a different size, because for whatever reason it's not sliding on there very well. I don't want it to be too loose, but I don't want it to be this tight where I have to compromise the bearing just to press it back on. So give it a little bit of a sanding, see if I can get it to go on a little easier. Alright, I ran out of patience for that option. This collar right here is just slightly bigger than this one right there. And I tried using the little sanding stick to see if maybe it was just a lip right there. But then I put a flat piece of metal up against it and I saw that it's a little bit, like a micron bigger than there. And I would rather this be tight than loose because I don't want it flopping around on the bearing. So I'm going to use some pressure to put that in. I'm putting one of the old bearings in the bottom here to apply pressure in all the right spots to this one so that I don't mess up the inner part of this bearing. I could set it down and smack it in with a hammer, which is the other option, but I'd rather not do that. I'm going to try to use the vise like a press and see if that works. If it doesn't, I'll try another option, but we'll get on this route first. It's mostly through. That's another way. Nice. It's a little set screw that just goes in the back here. A little C-clip. All seriousness, wear eye protection when you're messing with these things, guys. They are ballistic. They'll go flying across the room and nail you in the face. Alright. Make sure that guy is actually locked on there. Check around the edge to make sure it's seated. Try to see if I can get it to move. If it doesn't, we know it's in place. So quiet. Alright, since we're up in the front here, let's put this guy back on. And I'll finish aligning that once the belt is installed. Remember with these belts, they have an arrow usually indicating the direction that it's supposed to go. I think it has a lot to do with the glued strip right there and how the glued strip runs across your material. So I think it's obviously better that it steps down as it's going across your material. You can probably do it the other way around, and I think I've actually strapped this thing up the wrong way before and it was fine. adjust the tensioner. Alright, so despite the fact that I flattened this out, it's still kind of crowned. So I'm going to try to flatten out that big wheel a little bit more. I'm going to take this thing apart. Alright, so I tried to flatten this thing out as much as I could, taking away the crown, but it was cast so wonky that it's mostly flat, and then it gets to a spot where it is no longer flat and it crowns out a bit more. So the profile, like the distance between here and here, is even because this is where I basically filed it down. So no part of this will ever be too close, if that makes any sense. But as far as the crown, I mean, pretty much got it as good as I can. Again, this thing was pretty cheap. So I'm going to reassemble it and use it. Alright, I think we're just about ready to put the shield back on. A little bit of noise right here because of it rubbing against that, but in order to get it to run across here as flat as I could, kind of had to push it out a bit. So I think it's the best we're going to get. Here's something that's kind of dumb. What are these for? They're supposed to be vortexes. They're not very effective because they're not angled or anything. I'm going to take those out. Super ghetto fabulous vacuum attachment. This is actually for a pool vac. I don't actually need the tape of duck on here anymore. This had a slightly bigger fitting on the other end where the disc center was than it did on this one. Again, you get what you pay for. Like this duct tape, for example. Give her a spin and see if we made any difference. Not bad. Still loud, but not as loud. Hook the vacuum up and see what a difference that makes. Not bad. I'm happy with the overhaul. Still feel weird about not having the shield up here, but when I had the vacuum on, nothing came out of the top. So I guess the trick is, as long as the vacuum is turned on, nothing comes out of the top. That's probably still going to lead to me getting nailed in the face or something, so I'm going to consider putting a shield up there, but I'm not entirely sure that's necessary. Anyways guys, thanks for watching my short little video. Talk to you later.